Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to this presentation of the portable avatar format. It's an important standard whose version 1.2 has been recently approved. Before doing that, however, let me give 2 words about MPAI, Moving Picture Audio and Data Coding by Artificial Intelligence. We are an international, unaffiliated, and non-profit standard developing organization. We develop AI-based data coding standards, and we add clear intellectual property right licensing framework. At least we strive to do that. What does the last point mean? The point is that making standard accessible and timely available, because sometimes, and unfortunately more and more often, standards are not accessible. They exist, but are not accessible, and you cannot use it because if they are not exploitable. So this is how MPAI tries and solve this problem. Before initiating a standard, the active principal members in MPAI developed and adopted a framework license, which is not a license, but because it does not contain values, dollars, percentage, dates, business models. But that framework license declares that the eventual license of the standard will be issued at a price comparable with similar standard technologies, not after products are on the market. During the development, any member making a contribution declares it will make its license available according to the framework license, and after the development, but this is now outside of MPAI purview, members holding IP in the standard select the preferred patent pool administrator. So, but how are our standards developed? So developing a standard is just a serious thing. And because the result is, hopefully, has an important industrial influence. In MPAI, we're trying to be rigorous and to be precise. So we determine 8 steps in the development, starting from the development, functional requirement, commercial requirement, local technologies, and then this developing the standard, of course. And before the standard is finally published, we have an initial publication where I call for comment, and then the standard is officially published. So let's summarize then what are the main points of MPAI standardization. Our standard make explicit the computing workflow of AI application. I will say more about this. Because we break up monolithic AI application into a set of interacting components that exchange the data of known semantics. Of course, that is doable sometimes, although to some extent, so that developers can compete, offering better, in their opinion, of course, but this can be tested, better performance standard components. And humans can have application and they know more or less what is happening inside an application, which is not what happens today. So, in summary, MPAI's AI standardization is component-based. And AI application are subdivided in smaller components called AI modules or AMs. They are aggregating in one or more AI workflows, AI W, and they are executed in a standard environment. It's called AIF. So this is what is contained. Of course, there are many more details in one foundational technical specification called the AI framework. And here you see something. You see that we have AIMs here. They are included in AI modules. There's a controller that oversees the development of the workflow. We have APIs to give access to several useful components for developers. Another foundational point of MPAI is the fact that any standard, and the MPAI standard are no exception, create an ecosystem. The ecosystem, of course, includes the entity developing the standard themselves, the developers picking up the specification and developing implementation, integrators that integrate the basic components, the consumers that use the components as applications. MPAI has identified the MPAI store as the entity that can guarantee that the components, the workflows, are interoperable, trusted, and available. And so this is contained in another important standard that is called governance of the MPAI ecosystem. So this is a very simple description of what the ecosystem is. So we have MPAI, we have implementers, we have performance assessors, we have the MPAI store, we have users that download the implementation and may communicate their experience to. This is the implementation. As you see, it is rather complex, but we have a part where we have board of directors with advisory committees here, but the main work is under the responsibility of the General Assembly. The General Assembly has some standards committee, actually only one at the moment, it's called requirements. And the role of this is to prepare the work for new standards, and in some cases actually develop the standard themselves, and the development committees that are in charge of developing a standard. And you see quite a few, and you will see this more clearly. You will see that there are some that are in italic. We are working on them, but we don't have a standard. And the others are all existing standards in total. And the PAF is portable avatar format is the one that I'm going to talk about today. So the structure of this standard is very much aligned with the others. We have a general forward that talks about MPAI, more or less what you have heard so far. Then you have an introduction that is specific of the standard, and simply it sets the scene for the specification, whose scope, which is very important because it says what the standard does. Then we have definition, because having terms with clear semantics is important. References, so any standard that are normative, but sometimes also informative. And then we have the AI workflows, the modules, and the data types, which are the three basic components of any MPAI standard. So let's look at the scope. So we specify the portable avatar format, the personal status display, and the audiovisual rendering, and the AI workflows and AI modules of something that is called avatar-based video conferences, quite important, an important use case. Let's see more. So these are data types. So one important point of MPAI standardization is that all our standards, this happens since, say, spring this year, all our standards are now published on the web, but not as PDFs. I mean, you can also get this PDF, but they are developed as individual pages, web pages. So for instance, let's see what is a 3D model. So we are taken to this page where you have the definition, you have the functional requirements, you have the syntax, and you have the semantics. So all our AIWs, AIMs, and data types have a header, and this is the specification. In this case, we say that this data can be applied to a particular virtual space that we call M-instance for metaverse, but it does not have to be a metaverse. Then we have the ID of this 3D model, where and when that 3D model is active. And then we have an element that is called the data qualifier that I'm going to talk about in a minute. Then we have how many data it is composed of, and where this data is placed. So this is pretty much the case for all. And if I go here, you will see the schema. This is not particularly complicated schema, but it repeats the things that I have just said. Okay. We have another important element. Actually, this gives the names to the standard because it really is its importance, because it contains several elements that have a unique specification, so that if I'm sending you a portable avatar, you know exactly how to use the data that are included in this avatar. And so what is this data? Forget the header, forget the M instance, forget the ID, and here we are the content. How close in the portable avatar we have an avatar? But avatar is in itself a data type that includes the 3D model and the body animation and the face animation of this 3D model. Then we have the space-time of the portable avatar, language. So this avatar probably will be a speaking avatar, and so we say which language it speaks. It can have an accompanying text, and so we provided that. It may already be speaking by itself, or this speech is generated by a speech model. Then we have an important notion that is applied widely in MPAI, which is the personal status. Personal status is, okay, is this avatar happy, angry, arrogant? I mean, whatever. And finally, we also can provide the descriptors of the audiovisual space in which the avatar should be placed, and also we say where and when this avatar should be placed in the virtual space. So as you see, it's quite a complicated, rich set of information that constitutes the So here we'll see that we have the specification of the avatar, the body descriptors, and the face descriptor. So I have used frequently, you have seen frequently used the word object. So what do we mean by that? So we are talking about qualifiers. So the reason is that just having the data sometimes is not sufficient. You have to provide more information. So for instance, if it is visual data, having information about the color space allows the AIM receiving this data to do a better job. Or we can say that an audio segment that is passed to an AIM is in a particular file format. But we can also say more. So let's assume that it is a speech segment. This speech segment probably says something that can be converted into text. Okay, you can provide also that information. You may say that all this could be done by the AIM. Yes, sure. But in some cases, this information is very precisely known at the source, while it can only be derived with some uncertainty downstream. So MPAI has specified that this version 1.1 that specifies qualifier, which is a data type that provides data about, say, something that we call subtype. So we say a particular color space is something that makes a visual data type more specific than the general visual type. Then we can say how it is encoded, if it is a video element, or the video includes, say, myself speaking, for instance. And in that case, we can carry the ID, my ID, in the qualifier. So this is something important, but again, with the spirit of making the AIMs more precise, we have introduced another element that is called profiles. This means that an AIM can have several capabilities. So here we have the example of natural language processing. Natural language processing is something that receives text and produces a refined text and meaning. So it can just receive the text and do that. So the text can be the output of an automatic speech recognition AIM. But it can also be able to use the information about objects that are referenced in the text to understand better what the text is, which is the goal of natural language processing. And we have also another level of sophistication that can be added to the AIM, which is the fact that there is a context. So these objects are not abstractly available, but that the object placed somewhere in the space. So we can have a natural language processing AIM that is able to understand spatial information. And therefore, and again, this would help the AIM do a better job. So this is what the specification AI module profile does. That is a specification that complements the one that I am presenting now. So here we have the AI modules. We have quite a few. What is entity body description? Well, it is something that it describes the body of an entity. Or entity face description, okay, it describes the face. So a face entity recognition is something that recognizes the identity of a face. And the next one is it is capable of extracting the personal status of a face. So a face can be a face of a happy person, of an angry person, of a polite person. So all that can be described, and we have a standard that does that by means of personal state. We can extract the information that is used for some reasons in the processing. So I will stop here, but we have quite a few AI modules that are defined. So all these things are described by JSON metadata. And JSON is the language that we use consistently across MPAI. So let me go now to the third element. So we had the data types, we have AI modules. Now we go to AI workflows. So we have the portable avatar format standard is kind of special in the sense that it has 4 AI modules that are application, as you know, that are combined into complete system. So here you will see that you have 4 avatars sitting around a table. So this is a virtual space. And so we want to be able to implement that and to have a specification for that. So this is where what we have the client transmitter and we have the client receiver. Inside we have a server And so this is the interesting point. We also have what we call a virtual meeting secretary. So we have four, maybe three of those avatars correspond to real persons, but one is just a machine whose task is to produce a summary. So this is how is the exchange of data. But now I will say something more specific. So this is a transmitting client. So they send to the server a portable avatar. So each transmitting client sends a portable avatar that contains the avatar model and the language preference. You remember that the portable avatar is able to carry this information. Then it sends a speech object and face object for authentication. You remember that we had face identity recognition. Okay, a face is sent, and that will be passed through the face identity recognition to get the ID. Then continuously, of course, each client will send text and speech, will send a face descriptor, body descriptor to animate the model that has been sent at the beginning. So here you have the AI workflows. So let's take the example of video conference client transmitter. Okay, so it is again the same structure for all our pages. We'll say, what is the function? Okay, so it's a description. What is the reference model? Okay, it is described. Then we have, what are the input-output data? Okay, here you have the input-output data. By clicking here, you can go to the specification of that particular input data and output data as well. Then you have, so this the list of the AI modules that we use. So these are, again, you can click and see what the AI module does, what is the specification. And again, here you have all the AI modules, and for each of them, you have what is in and what is out. Then we also have a list with all the link to the specification and to the JSON metadata that I have described. So let me go to the example. So I will go into some detail with this, but then you will receive the slides, and you will be able to use the slides yourself and explore the entire set of web pages that constitute the portable avatar format specification. So we have, so this is a transmitter. So we have something that computes the descriptors of the scene, and it does it. What is interested is only in the speech signals. It also extracts the face descriptors, the body descriptors, and these are used to compute the personal status, because the personal status is something that is helpful to provide a better description of the avatar in the portable avatar. Then, as you see here, we have continuous text, and at the beginning we have a selector whether we want to use the speech of text, because there are people who cannot speak, and so we want to support that as well. Avatar model and the participant ID. So this is one example. Then something that is also very interesting, I will be very quick here, is the virtual meeting secretary. So this is an AI workflow that receives the portable avatars. So the portable avatars of the other participants understand what they are saying. It processes the natural language understanding. Then it also uses the body descriptor, the face descriptor to create the personal status, and then it's okay. It has enough information to put together something that we call summary. So, but this is done by an AI module in charge of doing that. And the summary is passed to the entity dialog process that receives all the speech, the text, and the meaning from all participants, and produces um, the text of the virtual meeting secretary and the personal status. Again, with the purpose, if you have a happy meeting, then the virtual meeting secretary may show happiness. That will depend by the strategies that are embedded, are not obviously not specified here. The virtual meeting secretary again has an avatar model that can be inside this AI workflow. It can also do something more in the sense that because it has received all this, there is a need to change the summary. So in that case, an edited summary is passed back to the summary creation model that will further proceed to operate during the meeting. Okay, so here we have what we have already said. So this is the server. The server simply allocates a position for the different models and transmits the animated models to all participants. And here you have, so this we have already seen, and okay, next. So, and this has been a quite important standard. Many resources have been employed in this, but you know, this is not the end of the story. This is the point from the first milestone, in particular because, and this is typical of most MPAI standards, that the pieces, some pieces of the PAF are used by other standards. In particular, the portable avatar format that is used by many other use cases. So we anticipated to have more versions of this standard, but we have another important thing. A standard is like law in the real world. But you know, the law without an authority to decide whether something is conforming to the law or not is meaningless, it's useless. So next to a standard that gives the specification, we need another standard that gives how to assess whether an implementation conforms to the standard. So at the moment, we don't have that, and this is what we are planning to do next. With that, I've come to the end of this presentation. Thank you for joining. We do look forward to working with you on this exciting MPAI project. And you know, by joining MPAI, I can guarantee that you will share the fun, and we have a lot of fun while building the future. And we are building the future, a safer future using AI. This is our website, and well, thank you for joining. And now I will close my presentation. And if there is any question, any comment, please.